Hello Andhra and Namaste Telangana. Welcome to Skills of Fire Junior. And I cordially welcome you all to our exciting journey of artificial intelligence or AI for shortcut. In today's lecture, we are going to discover the amazing world of AI together in simple and fun ways. Artificial intelligence might sound like a big, complicated idea to you, but it's really about smart computers and programs that can do things we usually expect from people to do it. Think of it as giving computer a brain. But don't worry, we'll explain that what it means in a way it makes sense. By the end of our lecture, you'll know what AI is, how it shows up in games, how it shows up in your phones, how it shows up in your applications, and even how to try it out yourself with a little friend called ChatGPT. So let's buckle up, stay curious, and dive deep into the world of artificial intelligence. Now, diving deep into the world of artificial intelligence, what is AI, anyways? Have you ever heard of this term, artificial intelligence? You might think it sounds like a science fiction movie, but it's actually AI is all around us, right here in our day-to-day life. We are going to explore how AI works and where we see it every day in this lecture. Now, looking at the word artificial intelligence, AI, artificial means something which is made by the people, made by the human, and intelligence means being able to think and solve problems like just like humans do. So AI is when computers or robots, if they are capable of doing smart things like answering questions, even playing games with you, or even help us learn new different things. In this class, we'll talk about AI in very simple way. If at all a very big word comes, like very new word comes into the picture, like algorithm or data or even prompt, I'll explain it with easy terminologies and easy examples. Now, think about where you see AI in your day-to-day life. Maybe in games, maybe in your phones, in apps, in your websites, or at school. So, what in the world is AI? Let's find it out. So, AI can be a thought of a thinking machine. Imagine you have a robot or a computer that can think like just like people usually do. Just imagine a robot or computer which is capable of solving puzzles, solving problems, answer questions, recognize your voice, recognize your face. A computer which is capable of making different applications itself, which is capable of writing code itself, which is capable of programming, which is capable of drawing pictures, writing stories. That seems pretty smart, right? The robot isn't really alive, but it can act like it's thinking because of the program inside it. It's just like imagine a video game character that moves and talks just like a person. That smart behavior by the computer or the robot is what we call it as AI, artificial intelligence. Now, for AI can also learn and solve problems. Think about mathematics. The more you practice, the better you get at it, right? Similarly, AI is also same as your human intelligence, but pretty much faster. It looks at lot of information. That information you call it as data. That data can be in the form of the data of pictures, the data of words, the data of numbers, The data can be of any form. So what AI does is it looks at a lot of this information, it learns it, it reads it, and it finds some patterns in that data. For example, if you show an AI lots of cats and lots of dogs, it can learn and it can answer you back that this is a cat and this is a dog. It's like a super fast student that can study a million examples while just looking at all these patterns. And after thinking and learning, AI can also make decisions for you. Imagine you are playing a game where you have to move from one place to another place. You might have played this, where there are blockers and you need to find the right path in order to reach your destination. So what you actually do is you look at different paths, you try out different paths, and remember which one is blocked, and then you choose out the best way to reach your destination. That's how you play that game. AI does something exactly this way. It looks at this information which it has already read and picks a good choice among all these paths. For example, you speak about a self-driving car which uses AI. What it does, it watches at different paths and decides which path to take. It's almost like giving computers a human brain. AI can see the red light and decide that it has to stop. It can look at the green light and it can decide to move. But remember, these computers do not have any feelings, right? So they don't get happy, they don't get sad. They just follow patterns and they follow the rules and instructions which you give to them. It's like a very well trained friendly robotic dog. So in simple words, if I have to sum it up, AI is a smart computer program. It can learn, it can solve problems, it can make decisions on your behalf. It's like giving computer a brain, but it's really just super smart software. Alright, so now that we know what AI in general is, let me introduce to a special friend, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an AI just like we talked about, but it's especially good at talking with people in the form of words. That's the reason why it is called as chatbot. Now, what is a chatbot? Think of it as a robotic friend where you can type anything and get answers instantly. You can ask any questions. You can either ask it to write a story, a creative imaginary story. You can ask it to create some images. You can ask to generate some codes. You can ask it to prepare some new documents, or else prepare some emails, write some mails to your managers, or else it can even help you in answering the general things. Now, how does it do that? Well, ChatGPT learns from patterns. We call it as language patterns. This means it has read and learned from huge amount of text like books, the websites, articles. Basically, it has read all the huge digital library. Now, by looking at so many things and words, it learns how language usually works, and it has learned how to talk, and it has learned how to answer questions in a way that sounds very good. It's like if you and your friends practiced every day with millions of stories, sharing each other. Now, one day after some time, you would also be an amazing storyteller. ChatGPT exactly did this. Now, because it is trained on vast amount of knowledge, it's like ChatGPT has read an entire library and remembers a lot of facts. It doesn't literally remember that way, but what it has done is it has learned some patterns from all this information. If you ask it about dinosaurs, or else you ask about some history of some famous personality, or else you ask about the events happening in the space, it can give you an answer as if it has already read those from books. It's like a super knowledgeable librarian. You can text directly and get answers instantly. Now, ChatGPT is often called a super smart text buddy. You can call it as creative assistant. Why? Because it can do many creative things with text. For instance, you can ask, write a story. Maybe you want a fairy tale about a dragon who goes to the school. It's an imaginary story, creative story. You can ask and it will write a story for you. We'll try to do that in this today's lecture. I'll show you how to do that. It can answer. It can also answer your homework questions. If you ask, for instance, you have a question like, "How do plants grow?" in your science textbook, and if you are not able to understand what is written over there, ChatGPT will try to explain it in a very simple way. Or else, if at all you have to write some email, or else letter to your teacher, or else your manager. Perhaps you want to invite your friends to a birthday party. ChatGPT can help you write those invitations too. And not only this, the major contribution of these AI is right now in writing codes. It can write bits of computer codes. If someone is learning computer programming, though we won't cover the programming part in this today's lecture, I just want you to know that ChatGPT can be your creative assistant. That means it can help you with creative tasks like art, stories, songs, or explain scientific things in a simple way, or else even things like writing a code. Now let me give you an example prompt. Prompt is nothing but the input which you give into the chat GPT. Right? So the input is in the form of your language, right? So whatever you speak to the chat GPT is called as prompt. Right? So the better you are able to communicate with the chat GPT, the better answer you will be getting. So whatever the question you give to the chat GPT is called as prompt. Now let me give an example prompt. For instance, let us say let us ask ChatGPT to write a story about what we say an astronaut. Let us say the astronaut is 10-year-old, right? So let us name that astronaut as some Sachin, right? So let us assume that there is a guy called as Sachin, right? So who is 10-year-old astronaut. And this guy Sachin is traveling to the moon along with his friendly robot, right? So let us ask ChatGPT to write this beautiful creative story, short story, right? So what we do is we usually what you do is you open your ChatGPT, you go to your Play Store, and if you are using your mobile app, right? So go to Play Store and download your ChatGPT and sign in using your email account. You'll see something like this. I'll open ChatGPT in my system. You see something like this, right? So it's like a chat bot where you can ask anything and you can type anything. So we'll give a prompt like this, right? So please write a story about Sachin, who is 10 years old, going to the moon with his robot friend. Right? So let us write a short story. Let me write it as, please write a short story. Right? So or else 200-word story about Sachin, 10 years old, going to the moon with his robot friend. So within few minutes, within few seconds, it tries to write down a story. He says that Sachin was only 10 years old, but his dreams were much bigger than his classroom. Every night he looked at the moon from his window and wondered what it could feel like, to stand there. One evening, his robotic friend Robo, built from old wires and a broken phone, beeped excitedly and said, "Mission Moon ready." So this is how it has written the entire story, right? So now this chat gpt overall is like having a friendly companion, smart, who is very very smart. Or else you can imagine him as a smart friend, or else a teacher who's always ready to chat with you. Now you can also change this accordingly. You can add more things. What chat gpt does is it tries to remember what you told before, right? So if I don't like this story, what I'll do is make it little bit funnier. If I ask it to write it funny story, right? So I'll ask it to make it a little more funnier, so it will change it accordingly. You see that the story which you see now is uh, your funny story, right? So you see some jokes put inside. So what I've done is I've changed the prompt, right? So prompt is the input which you give, the way the language you speak to the chat gpt, right? For or else for any ai for that matter. Now the better the prompt, the better way you communicate with the chat gpt, the result will be better, right? So if you communicate in a very casual way, then the answers you get is also in a casual way, right? So if you want to be a specific, if you expect a specific answer out of chat gpt, what you do is you have to give a specific prompt, right? So you have to confine it to specific details. You have to fill in some details. You have, like, you can add the age of the character, or else you can ask him to wear a particular suit, space suit, blue color space suit, right? So accordingly it will try to create the story for you, right? So now so if I have to sum it up, I would say that the chat gpt is nothing but having a friendly chat, friendly teacher, who is very very smart and who has learned millions of things, right? So and who is readily available to serve you whatever the question you have. Now let's play a little comparison game between Google and ChatGPT. Many of you might have used Google. Google is basically a search engine, and ChatGPT is a chatbot. They both help us in finding information, but in different ways. For instance, you imagine Google. Google is like a digital librarian. Think of Google like a ultimate librarian, where where there is a giant library. When you have a question, you tell Google some keywords, or you question it, and Google quickly shows you the relevant information around that. It will take you to the websites. It will show you where you can find the information. It's like, hey Google, where can I find this information about dinosaurs? And Google will look through all the internet, billions and billions of web pages, and it will show you the relevant information about the dinosaurs. Now if you need to get the answer, what you have to do is you have to go through all that information and find out yourself, right? So it's like searching yourself in the library. So Google is really good at finding existing information or facts. Or else if you want to find out the recent news happening all around you, what you do is you Google it. If you want the websites or articles about particular information, what you do, you Google it. So what Google does, it will try to take you to those websites. Now it's your time to search all that websites in order to find the relevant information. It's also really good at giving you links of the source. That means it shows you where the information is coming from, like links to the website. And it's great for keyword search. We say that keyword search. For example, if you type pizza recipes, Google will find you recipes for pizza. Or if you type weather forecast tomorrow, it'll show you weather forecast. Or else when you type when did the dinosaurs live, Google will try to find a science website or an article related to dinosaurs, and it will try to show you a snippet of the link where you can actually find the answer. If you want, if you wish, you can actually do that on Google. For instance, let me try to open Google. Let us say I have Google over here, right? So let me try to ask Google what is the weather forecast, right? So what is weather forecast tomorrow? Forecast for tomorrow. So it tries to take my precise location, right? So if I try to allow its location, right, so it will try to forecast that particular what we say, the weather for tomorrow, for the next day, and then coming day, right? So if I ask it what is where did dinosaurs live, right? So when did dinosaurs go extinct, right? So this is like information. So now what Google does is it will try to give me links, right? So this is one link, and then this is another link, and this is another link from different sources, right? So these are the different sources. Now I have to open those sources in order to find that relevant information, right? So I'm not getting ready-made information by googling it actually. Now, on the other hand, imagine ChatGPT as a friendly teacher, or for that matter, a storyteller. If you ask the same question to ChatGPT, when did dinosaurs live? ChatGPT will try to answer you exactly in a direct sentence using the information which he has already learned. He'll try to give you a complete answer right there. Even if you don't like that answer, if you want to, if you want an answer in a better way, in a simple example, simple explanation, right? So it will even do that. So on one hand, you have Google, which will try to give you the links of the sources where you have to go and search for the information and find out the answer yourself. But if I do the same operation for on ChatGPT, let us say this is your ChatGPT, right? So this is where we are writing the story, right? So now what I'll do is I'll ask ChatGPT, when did when did dinosaurs go extinct, right? So when did dinosaurs live, right? So when did dinosaurs live? So directly it will try to give you the information. Dinosaurs lived a very long time ago, during the period called the Mesozoic era, right? So they first appeared about 230 million years ago. They were extinct about 66 million ago. So these are specific information about the dinosaurs. Now what I can also do is this is one example which we have taken, and the other example was Sachin going to the moon, right? So let us assume that we try to combine these two, and we are asking ChatGPT to make a creative content related to the dinosaurs and Sachin who has gone to the moon. Let us assume that the Sachin who has gone to moon, right? So along with his robotic friend has met dinosaurs which are on the moon, right? So let us try to create that kind of storyline, right? So for instance, I ask ChatGPT, right? So assume that Sachin has met dinosaurs on the moon. Rewrite the story. I'm asking it to rewrite the story. So let's see what it gets. So basically it tries to give Sachin was 10 years old and completely sure of one thing. So it remembers that we gave a prompt earlier saying Sachin was 10 years old, right? Because in the previous prompt we gave that Sachin was a 10 years old guy, and he had a robotic friend along with him. So it is trying to relate that Sachin with our dinosaurs. Sachin was 10 years old and completely sure of one thing: homework should be banned on the moon, right? So it is trying to be a little bit funnier because we also asked it to be funnier, right? So one night his robot friend Robo, right, so a shiny metal fellow who charged himself by eating electricity, announced, breaking news, moon trip unlocked. So before Sachin would, pack snacks, their tiny rocket zoomed off. When they landed, Sachin jumped and, kept jumping. Robo, I think gravity forgot me. So it is trying to be a little bit funnier, right? So this is where it tries to, include the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs bounced around like balloons. One sneezed and others, and floated away. Another tried to roar but sounded like a squeaky toy. Sachin laughed so hard he felt upwards. He fell upwards. Right. So this is what it tries to do. It is trying to remember the previous content, the previous prompt which we have given to it, and at the same time it is trying to link with the new prompt. Right. So even if you want, you can write it as two different things. But as that, so just because we try to just because we asked it to remember and to combine these two stories, that's the reason why it is doing that, right? So what ChatGPT is trying to do is it is trying to give a complete answer right here, as if it is explaining it to you. Even if you don't understand anything, if you feel that the grammar of this English is very high, in that case you can ask it to write it in a simple English language, or else you can also ask it to write it in Telugu language. It will do that, right? So can you write this story in Telugu? Let us see what it does. So it will try to generate everything in Telugu. This is your Telugu script, right? So this is one response and this is another response. So whatever you like, right? So whatever the language you like, you can try to translate it in that way, or else whatever the response you like, you can pick it, right? So I prefer this response, or else I prefer this response. I can prefer this response, and this will be my story, right? So what ChatGPT is trying to do is it is trying to generate creative and personalized answers, right? So if you give it a little more information about what you want, right, it'll try to adjust your answers according to that. It's like having a conversation with a chatbot. That's the reason why it is called as chatbot. You ask it and it'll answer in a normal way, right? So just like you're speaking with your teacher or else your family member, it also explains whatever the complex topics which you don't understand, it will try to explain it in a simple ways, right? So if you want it to give some examples related to understanding a very complicated topic, right, so it will try to explain it to you in a simple, easy and funny way, right? So it will try to explain I can say that it will try to explain in a kid friendly words, right? So as if it is teaching you. Also, coming back to our discussion, so ChatGPT is like a creative conversationalist, right? So just like it is talking to you, right? So it tries to engage in a natural conversational language, right? So you can ask it follow-up questions also, right? So you might ask why is the sky red, or else why is the sky blue, right? So it will try to continue to chat with you that way. But Google doesn't do that as well. Yes, of course, Google does it, but it doesn't do it the way it is ChatGPT is doing. It's more like one question at a time. When you speak about the Google, it's about it's like one question at a time. It doesn't remember what you asked before. Now, to sum it up, I can say that the comparison between Google and ChatGPT is Google is like a digital library or a search helper. It shows you where the information is. Now you have to go there and find the relevant information. But on the other hand, ChatGPT is like a creative teacher or a chatbot friend. It can make up explanations. It can create new ways of explaining things. It can create stories. It can write the answers on the spot. which are not available till then, right? So whatever, even if they are not available till then, it will try to understand things and try to give your answers in the way you understand the concepts better, right? So it's ChatGPT, I can say that it is good when you want to ask a question and get the answer in a conversational way, right? So or you can get some help in writing something new or else something creative also. So we can also try out a few more examples. For instance, I want to write a poem on about a happy cat, right? So I can ask ChatGPT to write a poem about a happy cat. It will happily write it down. So write a poem about a happy cat. So ChatGPT will try to do that, and also you see that there is some rhyming in its writing also. A happy cat in morning light stretches long with pure delight, right? So it is trying to follow that pattern also, right? So it is also following the rhyming of the poem, right? So and at the same time, if I do the same operation on Google, for instance, if I ask Google to write a poem on happy cat, right? So Google will not be able to do that, because it is, nobody might have written, what Google does is it will try to show you the information which is already existing, right? So nobody would have written a poem on happy cat, right? So if at all someone has written some poem on happy cat, it will show that. But if nobody has written it, it will try to show some relevant information but not the exact information, right? So if you want, you can do that. So I'm trying to type it on Google, write a poem on a happy cat. So this is these are some links of poem of the week, my cat poems, the happy cat, right? So it's trying to give you the links of already existing information about the links of happy cat, but not the exact poem, right? So nowhere you find a poem, right? So it is trying to give you the relevant information. Now you have to go and search for that relevant information, right? So that is what the difference between your Google and what we say ChatGPT is. Now here is a mini challenge, mini AI challenge. These are the things for you to guess. I'll give you 3 items, right? So I want you to guess which one uses AI, right? So the first item is your calculator, right? So it's just good at math, right? So and the second one is Google Assistant, right? So it listens and it understands what you speak and what you say. And the third one is your wall clock, right? So it just tells your time, right? So which of these do you think is using AI? Take a moment to think. I'll give you few seconds. I want your answers in the comment section. Think carefully while while you answer this question. All right, so the time is up. I think most of you might have already figured out what the answer is. The answer is option B, which is Google Assistant. Let me explain to you why. If you look at calculator, right, so it's just a simple device which is used to do math. For instance, if you ask it to add 2 plus 2, it will give you 4. But it doesn't really learn or listen to you. It's just following basic rules. On the other hand, option C, which is wall clock, it just ticks and shows you time. It doesn't it also doesn't actually learn or think on its own. But on the other hand, if you look at the option B, which is Google Assistant, like your Siri or else Alexa, right? So it listens to your voice, tries to understand what you say, and then responds. For instance, you might have done this experiment. So if you speak about if you want to speak to your phone, right? So hey Siri, what's the time right now?
It's 5:12 p.m.
So it is giving me exact answer. If I ask it, hey Siri, where did when did dinosaurs live?
Okay, I found this on the web for where did you know when did dinosaurs live? Check it out.
So what Siri is trying to do is it is trying to search it on Google, right? So AI is going and searching on its on my behalf, right? So I asked AI the answer, right? So it is going to the Google and it is trying to search, right? So this is happening towards through voice search, right? So if I ask it, what is the weather forecast? Hey Siri, what is weather forecast for tomorrow?
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first. You'll need to turn on location services for that.
So it is asking me to turn on the location service. If I turn on that location service, it will exactly tell me in my location what would be the weather forecast for tomorrow. Right. So basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to talk to this assistant. This is voice assistant, right? So whether it is Google Assistant or else Siri or else Alexa for that matter, right? So that's the key part of artificial intelligence. So good job if you have predicted the answer as option B, which is Google Assistant, right? So that's what we have learned. If something listens and tries to understand and makes decisions be on behalf of us, right? So that's probably AI, right? So now this next part in the activity where you go to the chat gpt, right? So let us say you have chat gpt. Even if you don't have chat gpt on your mobile, this is the activity for you today, right? So you go to your play store or else app store, you download your chat gpt from that app store and register yourself using your email id, right? So that's the first step. You go and download chat gpt from your app store or else google store, right? So I hope everybody knows how to do that. And then in the second step, I want you to write a creative story, right? So I want you to write a creative story about your experience of traveling to the moon, right? So you can be as creative as you wish, right? So you remember, right? So I spoke something called as prompt, right? So prompt is, if you give the same question to this the asking question is prompt, right? So if you give the same question, your experience of traveling to the moon, ChatGPT will give you a very vague answer, right? So very not so appealing answer, right? So not so interesting story. Now if you try to add some characters to it, right? So let us say you along with your friend, let us say you have another friend, right? So let us say his name is Virat, right? So Sachin along with Virat are going to the moon, right? So you are Sachin and the other person is Virat, right? So both of you are going to the moon, and also give it the age of these two people, and ask it to be you can ask it to be funny, you can ask it to be sad, you can ask it to be a little bit relative, right? So more practical, right? So you can ask it to wear some outfit, right? So let us say Sachin is wearing blue t-shirt and Virat is wearing red t-shirt, right? So you can ask ChatGPT to give a specific answer. That's how better answers you create using ChatGPT, right? So you ask ChatGPT to write a 300 word story of you traveling to the moon, right? So and then you can make it that's what I was telling about. You can make it little bit more funnier, right? So you can add more details to it, right? So you can add the age of that particular person, you can add the size of that particular person, right? So you can add about the trees, right? So though there are no trees on moon, right? So you can add about the imaginary trees or else imaginary animals you found on the moon, right? So where Sachin is speaking to those animals, right? So you can write a creative story, and the one who will create a good story, right? So will be receiving a surprise gift in the next lecture, right? So I hope you understood today's lecture. To sum it up in few words, let's recap what we have learned in simple terms, right? So the first thing we have learned is about AI, that we learned that AI is a smart computer, right? So that's one big idea which we have learned in today's class, right? So AI means we have made computers or robots that can think and learn and solve problems, right? So they are of course not alive like a human being or animal, but they can do tasks that normally needs a brain, right? So for instance, for example, we spoke about recognizing voices or images or answering questions or driving cars, playing games, and many more, right? So all of these are like examples of AI, right? So, and the next thing we have learned is, the think and learn problems, right? So they think and learn, to solve problems, right? So they are the machines that then that can think like humans, right? So kind of we gave an examples like how fast, how a self-driving car decides to stop at red light, or else decides to move at green light, right? So how a game's computer player tries to beat you, right? So that's the thinking and learning which is a part of AI, right? So and it is all around us, right? So and of course, this AI, learning AI, will have amazing future, because this is what the technology which is coming into the picture right now, right? So people are looking for the ones who already know, who were the ones who has exposure to AI, right? So learning AI will be helpful for us in coming future, right? So having said that, congratulations, your AI journey has begun, right? So you have just started learning about artificial intelligence, but there is so much more to discover beyond what we have discovered today. But I think this is a very great first step, right? So one more important thing, always remember that AI is a tool. It's not a magic, it's a tool which we can control, right? So it's not a person, or else it's not a pet, right? So it's a program, right? So try to be as creative as possible, right? So whatever the input you give, whatever the way you speak to the AI, right? So the answers will also be accordingly, right? So the better quality of question you ask, the better answer you get, right? So having said that, thank you so much for joining this session today on this adventure into diving deep into what is artificial intelligence. I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Right. So feel free to share your thoughts and your comments and your homework in the comment section, and tell me whatever the story you have created. Tell me that whatever you have created, you are using your chat GPT. Right. So I would love to hear all your stories about the experiences in the next live session. Right. So and the best thing over the best surprise, I would say, is you'll be rewarded with a surprise gift. Whoever has got a best story will be rewarded with a surprise gift. Fine. So uh, that's it. That's a wrap. Our time for module 1 is up, right? So but this is just the beginning, I would say, of your AI journey. Keep being curious, keep learning, keep experimenting, and who knows, you might be making the next great AI tool someday. I would like to take this moment to thank Gem School for stepping forward to build for building. I would like to thank Gem School for coming forward to build this revolution, and we wish to collaborate with many more schools in coming weeks. Thank you again, and let's give ourselves a round of applause for being great AI learners today. Thank you.